Do you want to create content, but you don't know where to start? Does the thought of editing footage scare you? Does it intimidate you? Does it make you not want to be a content creator? Well, I was there with you 4 years ago. I had a lot of ideas. I wanted to get all my ideas onto video and I wanted to create a YouTube channel. But the thought of editing a lot of footage it was really intimidating. But I clicked around, I used different editing programs, and I learned. I started with iMovie and then I moved on to Final Cut Pro. 4 years later, I feel like I'm pretty proficient enough to be able to teach you how to use Final Cut Pro. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things: libraries, projects, and events. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the layout or the anatomy of / the interface. And the third thing we're going to talk about is how to create a project. So hopefully after this tutorial, you will be able to download, pull it up, import your footage, create a video, and then export it, share it with your followers or your friends or your family. So if you're interested in this tutorial, let's go. Before you're able to edit your footage within Final Cut Pro, you have to start here. Let me teach you about libraries, events, and projects. When you launch Final Cut Pro, you want to establish a library. Now, a library is just a collection of events and projects, and these are your events and these are your projects. So pretty much you're just storing your media files within your library. Media files can be really large. I like to keep my libraries on an external drive, and it says internal drive, so you can either keep your libraries like in iMovie. I would not recommend that. I would move your library, or I would put your library in an external hard drive. So if you do not have an external hard drive, I would highly recommend going out and purchasing one and then connecting your computer to the external hard drive. Then once you launch your library, you're going to go back and you're going to launch an event. Okay. An event pretty much is just a collection of media files, and it's organized within your library. Your project is going to be stored on the timeline, and that's where you're going to assemble all your clips. You're going to apply the editing. You're going to add your music. That's where you actually create your video. That's your project. Okay. And that's on the timeline. Okay. So let's move forward. Let's go and talk about the interface. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to launch the application. Once you launch Final Cut Pro, this is what you will see. This is blank. There's nothing here. We're starting from scratch. So let's start in this area. This is called your sidebar. Now, your sidebar holds all of your projects. You're going to create a lot of projects. You will find them here. They will be organized and they'll be in alphabetical order. Moving forward, this is called your browser. So this is where your clips will be housed, as well as your music and then your photos. You'll also be able to skim through your clips on the browser. Now, when you skim through your clips, you'll be able to see your clips or through the viewer. This is called your viewer. This is where it's like a playback. So this is where you'll be able to watch your footage and your clips. Okay. Moving along, this is the inspector window. This houses your audio as well as color correction. So that'll be here. And then last but not least, this is your magnetic timeline. This is where you will build your project. Let's get into lesson 1. Okay, so in lesson 1, we are going to talk about how to create a library. We're going to talk about how to create an event, and we're going to talk about how to create a project. And then we're going to talk about how to find your media and then upload it to the browser window. First, we're going to talk about a library and how to create a library. So you're going to go to File, you're going to click on File, you're going to click on New, and then you're going to click on Library. Then a window pops up. It says Save at the top, and then it says Save As, and then Where. So you are going to type in the name, the name that you want to call your library, and then you're going to choose the location of where you want your library to be. So once you do that, you're going to click Save. So now I'm going to teach you how to create an event. Go to File again. You're going to click on Event. So once you click on Event, you'll have a window and it says Event Name. So you're going to choose an event name. You're going to choose your location. The library that you just created, that name will appear. From there, you can click OK. If you'd like to change the settings that are below, you are more than welcome to. Once you have done all of that, you're going to click OK. So there you go. You have just created a library and you've just created an event. Now it's time for a project. Every time I create an event, my event shows up on the sidebar, and then I double click the event like this, and my event shows up here. Now, it usually doesn't have a name, so it'll say untitled. So then I will put the name of my event, here, and then I'll double click on the event, and then that's when my project is created. So then that's when when I'm able to move around on the magnetic timeline. Okay. Now you might see a window here and the name project. Like you might see create project down here. If you do, create your project. Okay. But most of the time when I create an event, I double click on here. I give my event a name, and then I double click it, and then my project is created. So now we have just created a library, an event, and the project. Now that we have all those three down, we are now going to get our media. We're going to find our media and we're going to upload it into the browser. We're going to go back again. We're going to go to File. We're going to click on File, and then we're going to go all the way down to Import. Once you see the word import, you're going to click on media. Now, once your media pops up, you're going to select the clips that you'd like to import into your browser. But on the right-hand side, make sure that you are selecting the correct settings. So at the very top, it says add to existing event. You want to select the event that you just created. Then you're going to go down to where it says files, and you're going to either click copy to. So mine says copy to and then my external hard drive. Okay. Either you can click that for your files to be held or to be saved, or you can click leave files in place. All right. So once you have selected what you wanted to select, and then you've selected your clips, you're going to click import selected. Okay, so did you see how my clips were loaded into the browser? That's what should happen for you. Now we have just created a library, we've created an event, we've created a project, and we have found our media and we've loaded it into our browser. And that's kind of it. So let's go to lesson 2, where I'm going to teach you how to add clips to the timeline. So here's where the fun begins. Let's talk about lesson 2, which is how to add clips to your timeline. Here's the browser. Here's our clips. I'm going to click on my clips. When I click on my clips, they are highlighted in yellow. When I click on my clips, I can scroll through my clip with that red line. See how my face is moving and I'm talking? So I'm scrubbing through my clips in my browser. I can also, on my keyboard, click the space bar and it plays the video. It plays the clip. All right. Keyboard shortcuts are amazing. They will save you so much time. So if you go, so let's say, here's my clip. On my keyboard, if I hit the letter I, see how this part disappears and this is still highlighted? If I move this yellow cursor here and then I click the letter O, so I'm clicking that right now. Oh, the letter O. See how it shortens the clip? So now I don't have all of this and all of this. I just have this area. When you click the I and the O, it just shortens the clip, and then you can take this clip and drag it down to your timeline. So instead of just dragging the whole entire clip, you can isolate a smaller area and then drag it down to your timeline. All right. So I'm going to click out of that. Also, you can move this back and forth as well. So you can do a lot within the browser. So I'm going to move this here. I'm going to move this part here, and let's take all of this. Now we are going to drag our clip down to the timeline. Okay, so I have it highlighted. Every time you have something highlighted, you can manipulate it. So now I'm going to take my clip and I'm going to drag it down to the timeline. Okay, see that there? Now we have our clip. And now here's where the fun part begins. Like now you can really go in there and like edit and start manipulating your clip. But before that, see how large my clip is? If you go up here to this tool, this is where you can shorten or make your clip longer or shorter. So I'm gonna make my clip a little bit shorter or smaller, okay, so I can just see all of my clips. On my timeline, I can make my clip longer, I can make my clip shorter, I can move my clips around. So let's say I want this clip, but I want it that, that length. And then I come down here and I like this part. So I want to take this and I'm going to move this clip down here. And then I really like this area, this clip. So I'm going to click on my keyboard I, and then maybe I want this much of the clip. And then I'm going to click O and I'm going to drag this. So now we have 3 clips here. And then let's just bring this all down. Okay. So now I have a bunch of clips on my timeline. I can like rearrange the clip. So if I don't want this clip here, I can move this clip up here and I can move this clip down. And maybe I want to put this clip here, so I'm going to put this clip here. And then maybe I don't like this clip and I don't like this clip, so maybe I'm going to move this clip. So you can move the clips around and you can make the clips longer and you can make the clips shorter. So let me just back up. I personally would put all of my clips on the timeline and I would just watch, right? Like I would just watch what I've recorded. So I have a good sense of how I want to edit the clips. And then once you figured out, okay, once you've watched everything, then you can go back and you can really start to edit and take things out. So let's go back. Let's say I watched this clip, right? And here, I'm going to make this bigger, make this clip bigger. Here, this clip, I looked at my audio and I'm not saying anything right here. See how I'm adjusting like the camera or whatever? And I don't want that in my video. So I'm going to go and I'm going to cut the clip. I'm going to cut it. Okay. So I'm going to use my blade tool. So on the keyboard, I'm going to hit the letter B, which will bring up the blade tool. I'm going to click on my mouse and now you see how there's dotted lines here. That cut my clip. And then I'm going to hit P, the letter P, and the blade tool will disappear. Now I'm going to highlight this and I'm just going to either I can move it up and I can move it somewhere else, or I can just hit the delete key and it deletes. You want to take out all of the ums or where you messed up, all the things that you don't want people to see. You are going to delete all of those. So now let's go on to lesson 3. And lesson 3 is on how to apply basic edits. So in lesson 3, we're going to talk about how to trim your clips. We're going to talk about how to add transitions, how to add titles, as well as how to adjust your audio. Okay. In our last lesson, I did show you how to trim your clip. Trimming is just going back and forth like this with your clip. So now let's talk about your transitions. You're going to find your transitions down here. And the transitions have like 2 triangles that are facing each other. So this is your transition browser. And you're going to find I have a lot of transitions here. So you will have a lot of transitions, but I downloaded a couple more. So I have a few more here. But here are all your transitions. I use fade to color a lot. So it fades to black. So if you're looking to fade to black, it's called fade to color. And then I like cross dissolve a lot. So cross dissolves. So let me put these 2 clips together. So here's cross dissolve. Okay, that's cross dissolve. Let's see. Let's make the clips a little bit bigger. Okay. Here's a film burn. Recording my voice. I like that one a lot. So what you do with your transition is all you have to do is click the transition that you want and then you just drag it over. I know a lot of YouTubers use this light leaks. So if I want to use this light leak, I can watch it here, right, and see what it's going to look like. And then once it's highlighted, I can manipulate it. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to click it and drag it onto my timeline, onto the clips, and then I'm going to add it. So there's that. So that's how you apply transitions onto your clips. Now, titles, you're going to find your titles here. So the T icon is where you will find your titles. And let me just make this a little bit bigger. One of my favorite titles right now, it's called Kinetic Typograph. And all you do is you just drag so you have to highlight the title and then you just drag it down to your timeline. So this is what this one looks like. By the way, to play your video, you're going to hit your space bar. Okay. So I'm going to hit my space bar. Okay. I'm going to go over here. So here's this is called the inspector window. This is where you'll be able to change your text on your titles. So this says kinetic. I'm going to change this to BEHIN, behind the scenes. I downloaded these titles from Motion Array. I have an account with them. I really like Motion Array. There's lots of assets on there that you can use. So I have downloaded a lot of titles, a lot of LUTs, that's color grading from Motion Array. I've downloaded music, pictures, pretty much everything. Check that website out. It's not sponsored. So let's play this behind the scenes. And what I like about this, if you go up to the T, if you go up here, you can change like the color of the text. See how that's like that. You can change the colors. You can actually change the text. But you have to make sure that it's highlighted. So you have to make sure that the title is highlighted before you can manipulate it, okay? So let's say this is the beginning of my video. Doing the behind the scenes, okay? So there's other ones here. I like this one. Life is good. So it just pops in and pops out. The Fox sisters or like the behind the scenes. Anyway. Okay, so you can kind of have like a title here and then your transition. And then you can scrub through and see what the titles look like. Those are your titles. And then you have generators where I've downloaded a lot of like intro type of generators. So I can create my own intro and those usually go down in this section. I also have like, you could drag and drop. Do you want to create video content but you don't know where to start? These little elements and add them onto your video content with your video. Also, you can, for YouTube, if you want to do like a call of action, you can drag and drop the your YouTube call to action. Also, see how this call to action is in the middle of my face? If you have a element that you want to use, all you do is, so you have to highlight the element, right? Then you go to this tool or this little thing here. Then you double click it and you go to transform. And here, see how it turned into these boxes? Here is where you can manipulate this and make it smaller. So, and then you can move it around and you can put it in this side, like the side of your video, and then you can watch it. So let's see. So now instead of freeze and not want to create content. So you can't really read it, but instead of this element in the middle of my face, now let's make it a little bigger. Now it's on the side. So let's see. And not want to create content. I felt the exact same way. So that's cool. Okay, so then you press done, and then there you have your element there. So I talked about trimming clips. I talked about transition. So you know how to add a transition onto your clip. We just talked about titles, and then we can talk about audio. So next to titles is your audio, like your music. So here's photos. So you can kind of link your photos. You can, I guess, upload your photos into Final Cut Pro, and then you can upload your music. I don't really have any music, but this is where you'll find your music. So I'll play some music here. Okay, so I like this track. So I'm going to highlight this track. I'm just going to drag it down to my timeline, and this is how your music will look on your timeline. So what I like to do when it comes to audio is I like to double click on my clip. I go up to my inspector window and I click on this audio element, and then I go to this like magic tool here and I click it, and it fixes my audio within my clip. And then I can do the same thing here. I can go to my music track and I can click this magic wand, and it will fix my audio and make it better. Okay, so let's go back to my clip. So I fixed that. It didn't detect anything, but most of the time I want my voice to be louder than the music. So I will go up here and I will click on voice isolation, and I'll click on loudness, and then I like to go down here because this is the surround sound part. I'll click on create space for the surround sound. And I can go into more detail about audio and stuff. But for a beginner, I would just start with like clicking this magic tool to fix it. And then if you want your voice to be really clear, you want to click voice isolation. There's also noise removal, where it will remove the noise in the background. And there's also hum removal. So you can play around with all of them and see, what sounds the best. So that is how you add music. That's how you manipulate your music. You can also shorten it. You can trim your music as well. And you can also delete your music. They have Apple TV here. And also here's your sound effects. So I don't have any sound effects, but that's where you will, if you have a sound effects. Oh, I do have sound effects. Okay. Just took a minute. This is where you'll find all of your sound effects. There's bubbles. All right, so in our next lesson number 4, we're going to talk about adding effects, which I kind of already did, but we'll talk about effects again, and then we'll talk about color correction. So in lesson 4, we're going to talk about effects and color correction. And I actually did not talk about this in lesson 3. So it's good we're talking about it again in lesson 4. The effects window is right here. So it's like the 2 squares. That's your effects browser. It's right next to the transition browser, as well as this icon. So once you want to click your effects browser, and it brings up this window. This is where you can apply effects to your video as well as your audio. Let's click on a clip, because you always have to click on a clip to manipulate it. Then if you click on an effect, it changes the way the clip looks. So this is black and white. This is broadcast. This is colorized, and there's a ton of them. This is computer pop-up window. I downloaded that off of Motion Ray. This is the fisheye effect. So it's cool. Final Cut Pro comes with a lot of effects, but you can also, like I said, download them. I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, you can so that's effects. Also, what I use a lot is I go to all, and then I go down here to custom LUT. Let's see, custom. Yep. And I apply custom LUT. So what I do is I click on custom LUT and I drag it to my clip. All right. So once it's on to my clip, I go up here to the effect browser and I click this icon. And now you see where it says custom LUT. I'm going to go where it says none, and I'm going to click the window, and I have all these custom LUT that I can add on to my my clip. So I'm really into, right now I'm into teal and orange. So I'm going to click on my clip so I can see it. I'm going to go to none. I'm going to go to teal and orange, and I'm going to click number 2. and see how it changes it into like looking more teal and orange. So I have a bunch of LUTs. I have beyond social media. I have cinematic LUTs. I have a dreamy LUTs. I have a retro vibe LUTs, the teal and orange LUTs. I have the vintage LUTs, and I have a bunch of other ones. Sunset, Sweet Romance. I really love them. I have the Canon G-Log. So it just gives me more options. Like I don't have to use any of these effects. I can use a custom LUT. And so I like that one. And then I like number 10 as well. That's a little bit brighter, but I think for now, we're going to go with that. Okay. So that's your effects. If custom LUTs, doing the LUT on your clip is a little bit more advanced. I would say for a beginner, all you really need to do to color correct is go up to this square, this rainbow. It's a color inspector, this rainbow up here, a rainbow triangle. What I would recommend, click on no, and then you're going to see color board, color wheels, color curves, saturation curves, and color adjustment. I only manipulate the color wheel. So, but I'll show you what they all look like. So here's color board. So it didn't change. So this is your color board. So if you drag these circles up, see how the clip is changing colors? That's your color board, okay? Now, if you click on color wheel, this is what I always manipulate, and this is the only thing I manipulate. I don't manipulate any of the other ones. So I used to go in here instead of going to global. So you have global, you have shadows, you have highlights, you have midtones, you have temperature. I used to go to shadows, highlights, midtones, and temperatures and change the color of my clip. I don't do that anymore. I go right to global and I go up or down. See how the clip is getting lighter and then darker. So I will take my triangle and kind of go down a little bit on this side, and I'll go up or down. I'll go up on this side, and it changes, it's global. So it changes everything. So instead of just going through all this, I just change to 2 areas, right? Okay. And then that's all I change. So, but there are color curves where you can change your colors, this way. And then your saturation is here. So you can change the saturation. This is the hue, and like it gets really complicated. And then color adjustments. Now, let's say you went through here and you've made some adjustments and you really don't like it. You can go up here to this film icon and you see how it has color board, color wheel, color curve, and it's all selected. If you just unselect all of these, it goes away. Like all the things that you've made, the changes, it all goes away. So if maybe you like this look, but you actually really like that look better, then you can select that and unselect that. So that's the nice thing about it. Moving right along. So we talked about effects, and we talked about color correction, and we talked about LUTs. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about how to export your video, your final video. When you feel like your project, your video is all done, do you want to create content, but you don't know where to start? You have your transitions, but you don't know where to start. Does the thought of editing a video scare you? Okay, so you have everything you want. You feel good. Now you want to export your video. All right, so you're going to go to File, and then you're going to click Share. Now it gives you a bunch of options. I click on Apple device 4K because I want my video to be exported in 4K. But you have the option for it to be exported in 4K, 1080p, or 720p. Choose what you would like. I'm going to choose 4K. Then it brings up this window that says Apple device 4K. So at the top, it says info, settings, and roles. So, and then it has the name of your video. Okay, then it has description, creators, and tags. Now the tags I usually just delete. Like you can add the tags or a tag if you want, but it doesn't really matter. Also for myself, when I am exporting a video, I always have like the name of the video, and then I have the actual word video because my external hard drive has a lot of files in it. And so I just want to know that this new file that I'm putting into my external hard drive is a video. And so I don't get mixed up with all that other stuff. On the left-hand side, you can see your video. So it plays your video from the beginning to end. It doesn't play it, but you can scroll through the browser. It will play your video. Then you want to click next. Then another box will come up and it says save and then where. So it says save as and then it says where. So save as, and then you're going to put the name, and then you're going to put where you want this video to be downloaded to. So I have it selected to my external hard drive, and then you're going to click save. Yeah. So once it is completely done, your computer should tell you, or Final Cut Pro should tell you that it's done. And then you go find it where you put it. And then you should be able to click on your video and it should play, and then you're all done. If you're still here, pat yourself on the back, because, this is a long video and this is a lot of information, but this is, this is how you edit. This is how you edit on Final Cut Pro. So you should be proud of yourself. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned a lot, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.